Hey, it's Braun and Kratz, but eventually it will be AJ as well. He should join us pretty shortly into the show. Apparently he's having drinks with Tom Brady or something close to that. Yeah. I wish I was joking. I think that's actually what's happening right now. He's just doing like a
we'll brush it off.
cocktail in the afternoon with Tom Brady. So we'll get to AJ in a moment, probably 10, 15 minutes into the show. We got a good one for you today. We usually do something different off the top, Kratz. I don't like to give attention to warm trash, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a run. So I remember when we talked to Rowdy the other day, and he was perturbed by a radio interview where they just attacked him with fat jokes, and he's like, I don't even know you, and this is weird. We're not best friends. So I asked him if he thought that we were in a spot where sometimes shows are just trying to ask things to try and get viral and get some attention when they need it. And that show didn't like that I asked that question. Didn't name names. I legitimately don't know any names on that show. I still don't. But at least one of our trusty men behind the scenes sent me a clip of them personally attacking me. Twerp, shtick is dry comedy. I don't know. All kinds of fun, right? Attacking. And then, of course, there's a producer on there who's like, he actually does guest spots on some of our shows sometimes, obviously for free. So he's kind of a nice guy. It was just super awkward and just reminded me of like what some shows try to do and fail so badly with is you're in your 50s, you're trying hard to be the next Howard Stern, Mad Dog, whatever you want to call it. And it's really cringe content. That's what it is, okay? I didn't go diving too deep into it at the time, but it's a really tough look when someone can't even ask a question and you're like, who is this guy? Oh, he's a twerp, and it's a bad accent, and it's like this tough guy mentality. I'm sorry that you don't know much about sports and you have to try and take personal shots so the show can stay alive and get attention, but that's what it sounded like to me. So it was on 105.3 The Fan, if you'd like to tune in, giving them some love. I'm sure there's a lot of great people that work there, but there were a couple guys that just decided to take some shots. They want to bring me on the radio show. I've been on there before, and we had a nice cordial conversation. And I'm allowed to ask an athlete if he feels like he was being trolled into answering questions a certain way. Okay? Free country. So get off my back.
Did they say anything about your chains?
No chains attack. Twerp is an interesting choice, though. I mean, that one I've never received before. We probably haven't met in person if I'm being called a twerp.
I'm going to actually, before you even say any of that, I would say twerp would never, twerp, small guy, ugly, all words I would never use to describe Scott Braun, because a twerp, sneaky tall guy, incredibly jacked, lots of muscles on muscles. So just saying, just don't go there. You can, and don't make fun of my friend Scott. Okay.
Thank you.
Make fun of somebody, make fun of me. Okay.
One more. So they said, see me, like as if I'm trying to get attention drawn to me. Now, as somebody that's on the show all the time, I actually have very specific rules. For interviews, I try and be the guy who asks the fewest questions. When we post stuff on social media, I don't like when I'm on it too often. So see me is basically my anti-religion.
It's not, and I can back that up. I can back it up. There's plenty of times that we're asked, who's next on a question? Scott routinely says, I have things, but they don't want to hear from me, or this is all you guys. So Scott is while he is the incredible host and incredible muscles, he does not want to be seen. I know it's anti what everybody thinks, like somebody that's on a show, somebody that's been on TV. It's not Scott, so you missed the mark. You took a swing. Sorry, it didn't happen.
Appreciate you. Yeah. Just trying to play point guard. But anyway, get our few minute shots back in there. I'm sure we'll hear from them again, but that's the only time I'm going to bring it up. Case closed. Let's talk ball. Oh, Kratz, of course, the one time that AJ is going to be a few minutes late. It's just you and me. Jersey-born Scott, a lot of family members who are diehard Mets fans, and Pennsylvania-born Erik Kratz, who is Philly thick and thin. And in Philly right now, these are actually their favorite losses, right? The Phillies actually lost yesterday. They got blown out by the Reds 8-0. But it's their favorite loss because they're losing to a team that has a chance to catch the Mets for the wild card standings. The Mets blew a brutal game yesterday versus Atlanta. They cannot maintain leads right now. David Peterson here in the fourth inning, nursing a 6-run lead, is part of a Mets pitching staff that ends up allowing 9 runs off 4 hits, 5 walks. Michael Harris had a grand slam in this one. He's been one of the best hitters in the second half of the season after being one of the worst hitters in the first half of the season. Starters are not giving length. There was some offense here early on. They scored enough to win the ball game, but the pitching staff is crumbling in mid-August. This happens to teams. But what the heck is going on with the Mets? Are they going to be able to recover from this, or are the Braves and others going to have fun playing spoiler for the next 6 weeks and knock this team out of the playoffs?
Man, I mean, to say that the Mets aren't going to make the playoffs is bold for even me. Beginning of the season, I got roasted by Mets fans for saying they're going to finish third. That didn't mean I didn't like the Mets. It also didn't mean that I thought the Mets were the best team in the National League East. It just means that I didn't think they were built to withstand 162 games to be the best team in the East, let alone in the National League, which I think that's what they want to be. And everything is going wrong right now. The team forgot to hit with runners in scoring position, and when they did, you can't overcome. You can't overcome 5 straight starters not getting into the 5th inning. You can't overcome that. There is just, especially in July and August, because the bullpen's just going to be so exhausted. And granted, beginning of the season when the Mets were hot and even Juan Soto wasn't hitting during that time, or to Juan Soto levels, the team was winning because this bullpen was ridiculous. It was just a cavalcade of dudes who were just having career years. Some have been sent down to AAA. And now this bullpen is getting tired. You need your starters to go longer. This team wasn't built for starters to go longer. One of their free agent signings, I'm not calling Sean Manaea a free agent signing because that was a great signing, brought him back, comfortable where he's at. Didn't work out. And you can't miss if you don't have a lot of signings that are going to give you length. And they're not getting any length right now. I don't know what's going wrong, except, man, they're throwing some absolute meatballs up there because they're behind in the count. To me, it just looks like the pitching staff does not trust they can get outs in the zone.
So David Peterson was the bright spot here, right? All-star, giving this team length. We can show that Anthony DiComo tweet, too, covers the Mets on a daily basis. And he said they have received 594 1/3 innings from their starters this season. That is 27th in baseball. Since June 13th, a span of exactly 2 months, they are dead last in that category. He said they simply cannot keep doing this and expect to win consistently. I will point some other parts out. When you do lottery ticket signings of free agent starters, it's not going to be as perfect as it was last year every time. Example A, Frankie Montas. We mentioned him yesterday. He got demoted to the bullpen. That's a $17 million a year starter, right? That was a similar rate that you were paying for Luis Severino last year, or a Sean Manaea who broke out with the team last year. You're not going to hit on all of those. I'll give you another example, Kratz. Clay Holmes was on fire to start the season for the Mets. Didn't give up a home run in his first 7 starts. He's got good stuff. But guess what? He's never done this before. He's never done a full season as a starter. Look back at last year. Reynaldo Lopez takes the league by storm. Eventually later in the season, fades, gets hurt, and has missed most of this season as well. Not saying it's going to be the exact same fate, but relying on Clay to be as good as he was in the beginning of the season was false hope. His expected ERA was much higher. He was giving up some hard contact, so there was some batted ball luck, and that is actually reversed now. His expected ERA is actually much lower than his ERA in the second half of the season. But point being, it's all falling apart at the same time. And when we do send out a little warning at the beginning of the season that we like this team, but we're feeling a little bit uneasy about the starting rotation. It doesn't mean in April. It means now. Here we are. So let's try and get past this. They've lost 9 of 11 games so far in August. Do we think that they will bounce back? Because I think that the offense will continue to turn things around. I know Lindor has been slower since that injury, and Soto's been really consistently good all year. If you're pointing to Soto and thinking that he's the problem with around a 150 OPS plus, look up his career stats. His career stats are 150 something OPS plus. He's doing exactly what he does, exactly his brand of baseball. It is what it is. He's close to 30 homers. He gets on base. He is Juan Soto right now. So I think he takes zero blame for this.
Except if you're going to say, we could have taken some of that money and invested it in a pitcher. Don't say Juan Soto sucks. He's not hitting with runners in scoring position. Besides last year, Juan Soto is not this like 130 RBI guy. He is going to be in the ilk of somebody who doesn't chase out of the zone, that Joey Votto type plus. He's hitting a ton of homers. I think he's hit his 29th homer. So he's going to have 35 to 40 homers this year, which is great. But his RBIs aren't going to be in the 130 a season because he doesn't chase. And with runners in scoring position, pitchers try to get you to chase, and he just won't do it just to drive one run in. It's just not his MO, and that's okay. It's not his fault. This offense will turn around, and I actually think this offense has shown they're turning around. To me, they need to figure out how to try to get outs in the zone. When you have a 6-run lead, like last night, you cannot walk 5 batters. You can't walk 5 batters in a game when you have a 6-run lead because one solo home run never gets you back in the game. A grand slam, when 2 of those guys were walked, does get the other team back in the game. You can't walk batters. And to me, this is on the pitchers. This is on Jeremy Hefner. This is on the catching core. They have to get these guys back in the zone, and it starts tonight because they don't have a day off. It starts tonight with Senga.
Yeah, they don't have many days off for a while. They have the 18th on Monday. That's it for the rest of the month. So it is what it is. If they could look back and make a trade for a starter at the trade deadline, they would. But it's too late. That's why the trade deadline is done at the end of July, and it is what it is. They're 1 game ahead of the Reds right now. It's almost a fresh season here. Right? You're going to be head-to-head against the Reds, who are 1 game off of the wild card spot right now. You have the Dodgers and the Cubs ahead of them. And for the Mets, after one more against Atlanta tonight, it doesn't get easier. They are at home, but they take on a roaring Seattle Mariners team that can really pitch, and they can swing the bats. So it gets a little lighter after that. They have 3 against the Nats. That's probably one of the best teams to face right now. That team is not in good shape. But then it's more Braves, then the Phillies, 4 against the Marlins. You take on division opponents who have senior pitching a lot. And then the last month of the season, they do have 3 against the Reds. They have 4 against the Phillies, 3 against the Tigers. They've got some Padres in there, some Cubs in there. This is not going to be easy. So to be continued, but they need to figure this out fast. And the answer might be that they have some good pitching prospects that could be ready to go. One of them is Nolan McLean, who's going to pitch on the weekend. A lot of pressure on them, but Cade Horton's doing it for the Cubs. We'll see if they get the same kind of production here from their guys. Let's step aside and get to another meltdown. The Dodgers and their bullpen and their lead in the NL West standings is gone. Padres leading the division. We're talking to Alden Gonzalez about it next. Hey, we love ripping slab packs on Arena Club. I just ripped one in a Ruby pack. Those are fancy schmancy, Kip. And I pulled a Matt Shaw 2023 Bowman Draft Aqua Lunar Crater Refractor card. And guess what? Guess what? I got a little offer. You get the instant offer right away. Okay. So they're offering me $121 to sell it back, and then I can get a new slab pack. What do I do?
I want to see this thing. Hold on. Look at that. That's a beautiful card. You know what? I think that's a safe bet. I think it's going to make you a little bit of money. I think the more big league time he gets, I'd almost take the deal, though. I'm in it for the chase. I like opening more packs. I think that 121 can buy you a couple more slabs to open. And I think you keep chasing until you get something you really like. But that's the best part about it for me.
That's right. You can sell it back, $121, and then open up another slab pack. Use the code FOUL to receive 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul. Let's answer one fan question on this topic or statement. BM in the chat said Soto's an exact replica of what he was on the 23 Padres, individual mercenary bad fielder, overhyped. What happened to realistically evaluating this guy? What am I missing here? Looks like the same guy on defense, looks like the same guy on offense. I can't speak to how he is inside the clubhouse. Most of the Mets guys are speaking nicely of him. So and you can never accuse Juan Soto of being like a clubhouse cancer or something like that. He does not have that rep. If you don't think he's the one leading the charge in a meeting or something like that, okay. The Mets also have guys like that. Lindor is one of them. Pete Alonso to an extent, right? There's other guys there that figure out ways to kind of lead ball clubs. And also, let's just drop it with the chemistry stuff right now. Is this a chemistry issue with the Mets, or is it a lack of pitchers going deep into games?
I'm only going to hit on the Juan Soto part because we just hit on all the other stuff. Juan Soto, for his entire career, has been exactly what he is now. Last year, was he 179 OPS plus? Sure. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the OPS. 178. 178 OPS plus. Every other year, it's 158, 158. His MVP year was the the COVID season. But this is what you're getting. And, oh, by the way, he's got 18 bags. So if you think this guy's not coming out to like win games and all this stuff, he doesn't have to accumulate stats anymore. He's doing exactly what you should have thought he was going to do, and it ain't his fault. Until something comes out where he's like choking somebody out in the clubhouse, he's not a bad clubhouse guy. Don't put that on him.
ESPN reporter Alden Gonzalez joining us right now in Foul Territory. Alden, great to see you. I always look forward to your informative tweets and coverage at night on the West Coast. I'm mostly an insomniac. So this is prime time for you right now. You've got the Dodgers falling, you've got the Padres rising, and these two teams are meeting up this weekend. Yeah, exactly. If people can see what AJ is doing right now, for the podcast listeners later on, there's a little bit of a choke symbol. Alden, what are you seeing on the day-to-day right now? And let's start with the Dodgers, right? Because you like to start with the panic mode and how they've really fallen apart to let the Padres jump back into this spot. What do you think?
I mean, it's a prolonged stretch of bad for them. I mean, you look at July 3rd, they had a 9-game lead in the NL West. Since then, they are 12-22. Do you know who has a 12-22 record since July 4th, along with the Dodgers? It's the Colorado Rockies. That's how the Dodgers have been playing. And I think the biggest thing right now, and it stood out in this series, especially the last two nights, on any given night, Dave Roberts doesn't really have a high leverage reliever to turn to hold leads. Blake Trinan hasn't looked right since coming back off the IL, and there are 6 high leverage guys on the injured list right now. And the last one was Brock Stewart, the one guy that they got for their bullpen. He's out now with shoulder inflammation, and obviously the natural question is, why didn't the Dodgers go do more? They were in on other high leverage guys. They weren't willing to give up their best prospects to get them. And that was with the thought that they were going to get a bunch of guys back. And they are. Kirby Yates, Michael Kopech, Tanner Scott. Those guys should be back before the end of the month. The problem is that there's urgency right now. And over these next few weeks, nobody has any idea who's going to be closing games for the Dodgers, let alone bridging the gap to the 9th inning in the 7th and 8th. And when you couple that with an offense that has been better lately, but still not as good as it should be, what you get is this. And it's a club that hasn't really spiraled like this in years. And it's pretty insane to watch on a nightly basis, I'll be honest.
They don't have a closer, like you said, but there was a ton of closers available at the trade deadline. Yeah. Have you heard anything that the Dodgers were getting asked higher prices because everybody sees the Dodgers as, well, we want to win the World Series. If they're calling about our closer, we're going to ask more. We're going to do that. Like, is there any of that, or was it the Dodgers' lack of willingness to say, well, we need help, when reality was they've been drowning and they needed help at the trade deadline?
I think, Erik, it's more the latter. I think when you're a team that's trading away these big-time relievers, like, your focus is just to get the best return as possible. And I think that the interesting thing about the Dodgers, basically every trade deadline, is when you match up their farm system and the guys that they can give up because of the talent they have on the major league level, compared to all the other teams, they could beat out practically anybody at the trade deadline. The question always comes down to their willingness. And, their front office is constant, and they talk about this a lot. They're constantly, and they're no different, but they're constantly weighing the now versus the later. And it's a calibration that they have yet to fully figure out. And so you saw what they did this offseason. They were as aggressive as anybody. That was largely, and they said this often, because they didn't want to have to go out and buy at the trade deadline. But the other part of it too is what they did this offseason is spend money. They have money. They'll spend money. What they're not willing to do as much is give up young players for players that they feel are only going to give them maybe like a very minuscule advantage for the stretch run of the season. Now, you could definitely argue that, and it will be very valid. I'm just telling you that that's kind of their calculus this time of year. And so when they looked ahead, their thought was, okay, it looks bleak now, but look at who we have coming back. We're going to have Kopech and Yates and Tanner Scott, and and we'll just get Brock Stewart. He's been great against opposing right-handed hitters. He could fit in nicely. And that's great in theory, but I think when you look at it now, it's not only about how are they covering these next few weeks, but it's also a lot is going to have to go right for all these relievers coming back in order for them to show up as the strength that the front office thinks they will be. Yates and Scott haven't been good all year. Michael Kopech has made 8 appearances this season. I'm not saying those guys aren't going to be good. I'm just saying they can't afford any more hiccups. So the margin for error on this season it feels incredibly small right now.
Wait, hold up, Alden. I got to know this. They were supposed to go 162-0. They were supposed to be the greatest team ever assembled, and now you're saying they have a tiny margin for error. What changed? Because remember, this offseason, everyone was saying, oh, the Dodgers are unbeatable. They'll never lose. They're going to win everything. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Like, are the injuries that bad that they can't cover them? Because people said, oh, they have 10 starting pitchers and they have 25 relievers. What happened to all that? Yes, I know injuries, but the narrative has changed so quickly from the greatest team ever assembled to, holy crap, this team's not in first place.
AJ, that's the beauty of baseball, isn't it? That you never know going.
But I thought every expert said, "Oh, it's so bad for baseball." Every fan, the Dodgers are like, see, you just never know.
And AJ, I think, and you could definitely speak to this, but I also think outside of just what baseball is, there's a reason why there hasn't been a repeat champion in Major League Baseball in 25 years. And it's not just the randomization of adding extra playoff rounds, which might be real too, but it's that when you're playing deep into October and sometimes November, there's a price to be paid. There's a price to be paid, especially with your pitching. And when you look at when you take a step back from this season, look at the injuries that they've suffered in their bullpen, a bullpen that they rode really hard last October to win a championship. I think a lot of that has shown up. It's not the only reason why they are where they are right now. I mean, you look at Freddie Freeman slumped for a while. Mookie Betts is not having the year that you would expect. Teoscar Hernandez, Tommy Edman, they just haven't been right. That's certainly part of it. The rotation early on was very injured. It is now healthy, but it was very injured early on in the year. That taxed the bullpen even more so. But, I mean, talk to the members of the 2023 Rangers and how winning the World Series spilled over into 2024. Talk to members of the current Dodgers about just the toll on the body, not just playing deep into October last year, but then opening up, remember, mid-March in Japan. I think that has a lot to do with it as well. And it's hard. And I didn't think they were going to go 162-0, obviously, and I didn't even think that they might. I thought maybe they'll have a chance at setting the regular season wins record, but I knew that was unlikely. I thought they were as well set up to be a repeat champion as maybe anybody this century because of how they fortified that roster in the offseason. But it just goes to show how difficult winning back-to-back championships is.
But Alden, to follow up on this, we talk about this with the Mets a lot. Their starters don't go deep, and the Dodgers for years have not allowed their starters to go deep into games, especially in the postseason. And then the bullpen just slowly but surely gets worn down. And that's kind of what you're talking about. A lot of starting injuries, so they don't trust guys to go as deep, right? Then the bullpen gets used. Then you get the bullpen injuries. Is this just a combination of the philosophy of what the Dodgers have been for years and years, and now this is the year it's finally really kind of catching them?
I think that's certainly a valid point, AJ, and I would say that is an industry-wide issue where starters are not going deep, bullpens are being taxed, and I'm sure the Dodgers are guilty of that as well. What they will tell you as a counter is that they feel like every year they're going to be riding their starters in October, and they got to save them for that. I mean, look, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, I think, is a good example. He's made every turn through the rotation, but his innings are very manageable, partly because he's part of a six-man rotation most of the time, partly because, to your point, AJ, he doesn't go super deep into games because they want him healthy for the stretch run. I think that's part of it, but I'll go back to what I said before. I think the bigger part of why that bullpen was taxed is because they were just really hurt. I mean, the Dodgers got to a point early in the year, up until like July, they were staging bullpen games twice a week. And they were also suffering injuries to their bullpen, a bullpen that, as I said, had been taxed in October. It's just not sustainable. And Dodgers, I haven't checked recently, but I'm almost certain I'm correct, that Dodgers relievers lead the major leagues in innings. They've led the major leagues in innings basically all year. And yes, that could be a function of where the game is going with the usage of starting pitching, but I think it's more pronounced for them that they've just had a lot of pitching injuries. And by the way, it's a second consecutive year in which they've had a lot of pitching injuries.
All right, I got one more Dodgers cue for you. Is there a team that needs to have the wild card bye, like miss the wild card round more than the Dodgers? A team that they've been mitigating injuries. You've even talked about Yamamoto. Like, another extra round does not set the Dodgers up very well. So they almost have to win the division, no?
I think you're right about that, Erik. And I think the thing about the Dodgers, and we've seen this in recent years, and maybe that's not the case this year because they might be a little bit more flawed, but the Dodgers annually are deeper than any team in baseball, right? Like when you look at the totality of like a 40-man roster, a 26-man roster, they have the most depth. And so the thought with the Dodgers has been, if you're going to beat them, you got to beat them in smaller sample sizes, right? Look at what the Diamondbacks and the Padres did in back-to-back years in the division series. If it's in the wild card round, probably even better. When you stretch to a 7-game series against them, usually their depth can really show up, and they can get the better of you. I mean, we saw that during the 2020 COVID playoffs, right? When there were no days off, like that was an advantage for them because they were deeper than the teams that they faced. And there was a huge narrative about the Dodgers when they lost those back-to-back division series to the Diamondbacks and Padres that like maybe they just need to play the wild card round. And the thought with them was always, no. We'd rather have the days off. We would rather set our pitching staff. I know it hasn't gone well, but we would much rather prefer to get the bye. And that's why, and honestly, that's why I like this playoff format. Like there's a real incentive to get one of those top 2 seeds in each league because teams see it as an advantage. And I think the Dodgers are foremost among them.
And then we have the Padres. We only got a minute left here, but take everything that you just said and then reverse it, right? Hey, the Dodgers need a closer. The Padres have 5 of them.
Yeah. It's funny because the Dodgers' strength is in their rotation. I think it's a legitimate strength too. I mean, when you go into a playoff series and you could run out Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani with Kershaw also there, that's huge. And the Padres' strength is in their bullpen. It's 5 guys, maybe 6. They could cut games in half in the playoffs, and that's been their formula the last 2 years with AJ Preller. Right, last year he went out and got Tanner Scott and Jason Adam to a bullpen that didn't need reinforcing, and he sees that as a clear pathway to win a World Series. But so when you look at last year with the Padres, they didn't really round into form until the last 2 months of the season, and it was right after the trade deadline. AJ Preller sort of completed that roster, and they became one of the deepest, most menacing teams in the sport, and that's what they are right now. Yu Darvish coming back and being effective is huge for them. Michael King rejoining the rotation, even though his return was spotty, huge for them, right? Like the fact that they could run. Now they have 4 guys that they could run in the playoffs. But you couple it with that bullpen and a lineup that now, at least in my view, looks as deep as it did last year with Freddie Fermin and Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn. Like that team is as good as last year's team, and I thought last year's team was the best team in baseball going into the playoffs.
Yep. Hey, they finished basically 1 win short. They would have dusted the Yankees in the World Series. Almost everybody thinks that. Alden, you're the man. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, give Alden a follow. He's got to go. He's got another show.
I know. Yep. Did the Dodgers or Padres win the West? One word answer. Dodgers or Padres win the West?
At this point, I'm going Padres.
There you go.
Everyone seems to be saying that. Thanks, Alden.
Well,
later, guys.
They have a one game lead. Later, Alden, you're the best. Alden_Gonzalez. Give him a follow on Twitter. Check out all his work on ESPN. Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
It's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today. For those of you complaining about CB Bucknor, oh, don't you worry. We have a whole segment on him coming up in a minute. AJ, good to see you. How's our buddy Tom Brady doing?
He's good. I'd never met Tom until 25 minutes ago. And actually a little bit, 45 minutes ago. Yeah, it was nice. I asked him to come on the show. He said he would, possibly down the road, talk baseball. Yeah, he's good. He's Tom Brady. I mean, there you go. What do you want me to say? It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. What do you want to say?
Have him stand behind you. He makes you look short.
And you're
He's
not
tall.
Short. He is tall.
He's
You're
tall.
not short though. Yeah, but just have him stand behind you. Like he knows how to take a picture. Like look at how much bigger I look than you because I'm up. Yeah, me and Scott are way bigger than AJ. And that's not the kid. Like he knows. He's aware. Next time, maybe get a picture like from the side, like biceps. He's looking skinny.
He is skinny. Should I put the one leg up like everyone does? Like where they go like and then put the one leg up?
No, I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. He did know who I was, though. I am proud to say he did know who I was. This is really kind of funny. You know why he knew who I was? Because I played for the Giants, and he's a Giants fan. He's like, "Oh, you played for the Giants?" And I was like, "I did." He's like, what year was that? And I was like, 2004. And he's like, "Oh, that was Barry's good year." And then Brad Zager, one of the heads of Fox Sports, goes, "Yeah, he's the one that hit behind him. That's why he walks so much." I'm like, "Love you too, Zager."
Tom Brady is a goat.
Show is back. The new Angel Hernandez has a name. It's CB Bucknor. He's been in the league for a long period of time. It's time. First inning, Dodgers Angels, 7 misses. It's embarrassing at this point. It's a really tough watch, guys. If you're watching this live, it doesn't feel like a big league game is being called, and this is pretty frequent. We'll show you how he did in last night's game. We'll show you the ump, auditor score, the whole deal. You know it's bad when most broadcasters are told to take it a little bit easy on umps if you're an MLB or a team broadcaster, and everyone's like, yeah, we can't fake this. this is even too much for anybody else to deal with. So our buddy Steven Nelson's watching this like, right. So that one, both of those are called strikes. If you're looking at the screen right now, if you're listening to us podcast wise later on, I highly advise that you at least tune in for this segment. AJ, what am I looking at right now?
Listen, CB is a nice guy, and Kratz, he's a nice guy when you talk to him. But there has always been a thing about him in the league. When you see him on the list, you're like, boys, be careful today because it might not go exactly correct and just don't get run. So he'd have good games. He had bad games. Everyone has a bad day. CB's a nice guy, but he has been known to have a bad game or two. And last night was not a good game, first inning included, but it went all the way to the ninth inning. It wasn't like he got better. It just stayed the same, and everyone just gets used to it.
You do. And that is something that not to be a back in the day guy, but you get used to it. I heard an umpire once say Tim McClellan, when I first got into the big leagues, he's like, if I call the zone bigger early, guys start swinging. And then he said by the fifth, sixth inning, I shrink it. Guys are already aggressive. They're not just taking every borderline pitch. We're not in that day and age anymore. I don't think CB was trying to do this, but it's really concerning to me because Kendrick was out there like he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour. It's not like one of the pitches of the 7 that he missed in the first inning was from Shohei, who's throwing 100. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's too fast for you. Our boy was out there throwing 88, 89, sinking it, cutting it, change-ups, and he wasn't seeing it. It was a bad first inning, but it's tougher when it's somebody that's routinely year in and year out not been good.
We have a little clip we can run of Steven Nelson, Dodgers broadcaster, having fun with the scenario. And, that's what life's about. You got to make fun of the tough times.
2.22 ERA. Ball, strike one.
They were like, yeah, they basically said on the broadcast after that, you're going to have to wait to make your call longer as the broadcaster, even for the obvious ones, because he might get that wrong. They literally spoke about that on the broadcast. And then later on in that inning, he said, ball 4 for the strikeout. When Freeland was up and took one well off the plate to end the top of the first.
Listen, I'm telling you, it wasn't just the first inning. Watch the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. It was the same thing. There were balls in the dot. They light up when there's strikes. There was, especially at the top of the zone, and I was watching the Angels broadcast. I was watching Wayne Randazzo and Mark Gubicza, and they made the same comments. There was a pitch that was clearly a strike, and they showed the box, and I don't know if it was Wayne or Gooby that said, well, that ball is all the way in the box, not even just touching an edge, and we don't know where it missed. So it wasn't like it was just the first inning. I don't know if we have the scorecard, but it was the whole 9 innings. It was all 9 innings of this.
That's Christmas tree. That's light up Christmas tree there. Just green, red, balls called strikes, strikes called balls. It's not good. I mean, hey, Logan O'Hoppy's out there he's getting big time credit. It's going to his arbitration, a game like that where he has a plus what does it say? Plus 102 runs saved or run advantage for his receiving numbers. Like, oh, they love that. That's huge. Reality is he just wasn't very good last night. He wasn't very good, and it's tough. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of this next year if you're gonna have a game like that.
Hey, so can I say something about this though? Because I want to ask you about Kratz and Scott about this. So you're talking about the ABS next year, right? And this tapping. So I've been, when I go to the stadiums, a lot of times I talk to umpires. I go in the umpire room and I talk to the umpires and just to say, because I still know a lot of the umpires. So I go in there and say hi and how's it going, guys? Or I see them in the tunnel and talk to them. And umpires have been telling me that, especially guys that have been in the ABS down in the AAAs, that catchers, and this is going to sound funny to you, Kratz, but this is something that I never thought about. Catchers were like, say it's the first pitch of the game, and they just box it, but they box it on purpose, right? So it's right down the middle, and they go, and they clank it, or they move it out of the strike zone. And then the hitter's like, damn, do I need to challenge that? And the umpire still has to call it a strike, right? And then the guy goes like this, and then they lose their challenge. Like,
Come
do
on.
you ever thought about that? That like the catchers could,
No.
early in games box balls on purpose that they know are strikes, but they're kind of borderline. They're like, oh man, right, and then they lose their challenges. And people are saying that down in AAA and stuff that the catchers are starting to do this. That's smart as hell if you think about it.
Wow, I never thought about that. I mean, gaming the gamers like that. Hey, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. So I'm interested to see. But that is something I've never heard.
I'd never thought about it, never heard it, but I like the initiative by the catchers, right, Scott? I mean, you got to game the game, right? So if there's
It's a deke.
like you know if a fastball is coming, you're the catcher, and you're set up away, and you know it's a strike, and you kind of just like you could do that, and then the hitter's like out of mind, he's like, man, was that really a strike? And they drop the challenge, they lose it, and you do that a couple of times, they're out in the second, third inning. Later on, it saves you.
It's good gamesmanship. That's good deke. Hey, if you get someone to fall for that, just like we see dekes in the field sometimes that look silly, but occasionally they work, and you're like, hey,
but
worth a shot.
Here's the thing, though. From the dugout, everyone's like, hey, that's not a strike. Look how he caught it. Da, 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 da. But in reality, if you're good enough to do it, then people see it, and they're like, oh, challenge. You know, Kratz, I know it's crazy, but it could work.
You're also kind of playing. You're playing the. It's almost like a coin flip game. Like it may or may not work, but to me, like all the receiving, not even to me, the whole receiving number is, do you get that 50-50 ball? Because over here, you miss it. Okay, whatever, that's more points, but it's a pitch that's missed a lot less. It's that 50-50 ball right down the middle. If you can accumulate the most 50-50 balls being called strikes, that's where the value is. Not getting this pitch is this far off the plate called a strike, or this pitch is this far on the plate called a ball. It's those borderline pitches. So ultimately, it's going to be about the borderline pitches. But it'll be interesting to see. I've never thought about that, and I'm excited to see some dude just first pitch of the game just oh man, I can't believe I missed that one.
Framing is still in play. I just want to make that clear because of the
100%.
fact that you can only challenge, it'll only be 2 or 3 times in a game. So let's say you use one early and you're wrong, right? And then you have one left, say, for the rest of the game, okay? Or even if you had 2 left. If it's the middle of a game and a catcher is just a framing monster and it's close, you can't take that risk. You can't take that risk when in the 9th inning your best hitter might be up. So the framing is still going to be in play. I love the gamesmanship component of this. This is where FT takes center stage. We got 2 catchers on the show every day, and it's going to be the top story in baseball next year.
Here's the thing. Here's also something else to think about, and a lot of these guys that I've talked to have said this. It wears on an umpire. I know umpires do the best they can. Listen, most umpires are really good at their job, and 99% of the games we don't talk about, right? But this new ABS system, mentally, think about if in the first 2 innings there's like 5 of these and they're wrong. And then they're like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? And then it starts becoming a mental thing, like hitting. You go for 20, you're like, oh, I'm never going to get a hit again, right? These umpires in the middle of a game, they miss 4 or 5, and boom, 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 boom. Let's check it, and they're all wrong. To the umpire, man, it's got to get in their head a little bit too. So, I mean, there's things that I never thought about that are starting to come up, and it's going to be fascinating when this hits.
It's going to be a long game.
I think it'll be good though, because a game like last night. CB has that many. He has 3 wrong in the first inning. Unless you are just completely zoned out and could care less about your job, which I don't think these guys do at all, he's going to lock in, and you're just going to automatically get better.
7 wrong in the first, 19 wrong in the game. So I was going to say, it's not usually going to extend any time. But if there's 19 wrong and let's say a team challenges 12 or 13 of those, I mean, it's going to be a fun watch, okay? Because you're not going to get that very often where there's 12 or 13 going against the ump. That's just crazy in a game like that where you can't challenge every single pitch. But it's going to be fun. A couple questions as we've been talking about this. Bird on the YouTube chat said, are umps required to get eyesight tests? Stupid question, but curious. I mean, they go beyond an eyesight test. No, I mean, they're actually going through an umpire program and umpiring in the minor leagues and getting called up. I do understand once you're up, right? So I don't think they're getting anything retested, but they do give them report cards after every game of how they did. And that helps to decide who's doing what assignments. No, Kratz, am I off on that?
No. Oh, what assignments you mean, like World Series and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's supposed. It doesn't work exactly like this, but they have their grading system. It even includes how you're dealing with people, like how many times you're getting into it with managers and players and all of that. We talked about this, right? Because we've done World Series postgame shows, and we're like, why is this ump behind home plate right now? This guy's got an 87% clip, and the best one in the league's 92. Why is the 92 not there? But I'm saying there is supposed to be some type of incentivization that if you're doing a good job by whatever grading system they're using, you will get, maybe an all-star game or postseason, World Series. You disagree, Kratz? It's what's supposed to exist behind the scenes.
There's no accountability. Come on, stop. Like 92%, right? That means you're allowed to miss 16 total pitches if you get a 200 pitch game. That's a lot of pitches because not all pitches are called. So there's balls put in play. But just to give you an idea, if there's a 200 pitch game, that's a lot of pitches. That'd be 16. 16 pitches they can miss. The accountability is, and you're never losing your job. And we've seen the guys who are actually in the big leagues, in the playoffs, and they're not always the best umpires. If it was the best umpires, I think you would get more. If there's more accountability, you would get better games called. But some of these bad umpires go to the playoffs and have some of their best scores all season.
You're supposed to get rewarded, but I get what you're saying. And there were 187 decisions to make in the game that we're picking on with CB Bucknor. 187 decisions. So you do impact the game quite a bit if you're an umpire. This is going to at least help things. One more real quick on this. Moral, our problem child, who we have fun with sometimes in the YouTube chat, said, how much time does the hitter have to challenge 1 second ? Or hitters going to be looking into the dugout immediately after a borderline pitch to see if they should challenge? The whole name of the game here is that you have to immediately make a decision. So I don't know if they said it's 1 second, but it is essentially 1 second.
What I was told, and I'd have to ask a AAA umpire right now, or an umpire that's been doing it, if you view, even if it's in 1 second and you look over if you're getting any kind of help from a coach, from the dugout, they can be like, nope, no, you can't. Now, if you see it and you're like, oh, wait, I want to challenge, then it might have actually taken longer to do that. But if they deem that you were getting help from somebody else, nope.
Okay. AJ, you hearing the same thing? Now I'm thinking about a runner at second base who immediately sees the pitch and does one of those Yankee jumping jacks and says, hey, challenge this.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. This is going to be fascinating. I'm all for this. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be so amazing how many times early it goes like this, how many guys waste them, who gets to use them, when they use them, the gamesmanship, the umpireship. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and for those that were complaining last night.
But that's why I don't want full robo-ums either. I want there to be some more stuff going on.
You're going to get that. Last night would go ultra viral for how many times you're going to see teams challenge and win those challenges to correct someone like this. So if you've been waiting for that moment, this will penalize an umpire because you're going to have a friggin' 5-hour game if you're challenging every pitch that they get wrong. All right, we're coming back to go over a potential schedule change for the A's that they've learned about in Sacramento.
Getting hot.
We have a little breaking news on HelloFresh. We've talked about them for a long time, but this summer they have their biggest menu upgrade yet. Ready for this, Todd Father?
Talk to me.
They have doubled their menu. Doubled. Now you can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. 100 options per week.
That's incredible. But to start out, what they had before was absolutely perfect. Now to add even more for your go guys like me. I got baseball in the morning. I got baseball afternoon, all day, every day. I need something to get going. I need something to eat, and it's absolutely delicious, Scott.
That's right, Todd Father. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM right now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That is HelloFresh.com/FT10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. Question from Ricky in the chat. Said, Kratz and AJ, do umps get mental health days if they just aren't at the right frame at times, like in the right frame of mind? They are human.
Not that I know of. They get vacation, though. You know what their mental health days are? When they get to go to New York for a week and sit in their room for 3 hours and maybe get one call in 3 hours. That's their mental health days. And they get vacations, though. A lot of these guys get like 2 weeks off, I think, or a week, 2 week stints, I think, where they get to go home and hang out with their families and all that, which everyone needs. So players don't even get that. So I think it's good, but they don't get mental health days.
I don't think it's 2 weeks. I think they go on a 6-week rotation. I think it's 6 weeks and then they skip a series, and then they go 6 weeks and they skip a series. One guy. So your crew kind of stays together, but then they're intermingling or dispersing the AAA guys who are getting called up to fill in. I think that's how it is now, but I can't 100% confirm that. But yes, they get time off. Not mental health days that I know of, but I'm sure that kind of stuff's. I mean, they're employees, so they know, and they do get health checks. Somebody asked before about the eye checks. I know the trainer who's in charge of all of the umpires, and they do the exact same checks that we do in spring training at the beginning of the year. So they're checking all that stuff. Doesn't mean there's like a standard. They have to have 20/20 vision or something.
By the way, I don't know who the home plate umpire is in the Orioles game, but wow.
He's pulling off his best CB impression.
Wow. Small or big?
One Holiday right down the middle, ball.
Oof. Hot corner time. Let's sizzle. The A's might push for more day games in Sacramento in 2026. They had a record number of night games on their schedule for this year. That's to avoid the heat. Barely any games in the 3 months where it's supposed to be the hottest, right? June, July, and August, taking place during the day. Manager Mark Kratz was outspoken about this and how it definitely affects rest, recovery, family time, etc., which is precious in the sport. And it has been much cooler this summer than last year. Sacramento last year was blazing, and everyone was concerned about how that would play out, including the league and the team. Now, temperatures have not been as crazy as anticipated, and that has led to them thinking, you know what? Maybe we can sneak in some more day games next year. Good idea, AJ, or bad idea?
No, next year it'll go back to the way it was the year before, right? Because just it seems like with the A's, that's what happens. They make these moves, and then whatever can go wrong has gone wrong, which sucks. But I mean, listen, day game, night game. If it's a day game and you can fly somewhere and get there quicker, I'm all for it. If it's a night game, I'd rather just play the night game because your body gets used to the night games and during the season. So just stick with the night games. But if it helps them travel wise, I'm all for it. But the weather, you can't control the weather. You can't control. I thought global warming, it was supposed to be 172 degrees every day in Sacramento, but I don't know, man. That was a joke, by the way. So everyone relax. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You can't control the weather. You never know. It could be whatever. I don't know. Just do whatever you think is best for you. I'm scratching my head because I'm confused by this, but whatever.
I don't know about this. I've never heard anybody go, man, we want more day games. Yeah, it's nice to have a meal with your family at night, but it's something that during the season you enjoy. For me, I enjoyed having breakfast and lunch with my family during spring training. I enjoyed having dinners with my family, and you never get breakfast. So it's like one of those things, just to have like a night out, to have a day game and a chance of 110-degree heat. No thanks. I'd rather have a night game. Unless it's getaway day. Getaway day is nice. But no, I don't want to have to play in 110 because you know it's going to be there.
Yeah, but wait, Kratz, let me throw that back at you. This is the main concern. They want this for getaway days because I guess they're playing later on getaway days. Okay,
Good with
well, that's
that.
the main concern here is that they don't want to play at night for getaway day.
And you can survive one day. I mean, come on. You can survive it one day, a homestand. One day, a homestand.
If it's 112, if it's 112 degrees, it's okay.
Done it. Played in Tucson. I played in
Okay.
Tucson. It was 140 in Tucson. We played every day.
It wasn't 140.
Dude,
You ever been to Tucson in August, son?
the only place that sucks more is the White Sox spring training, because it's much hotter than when you play at the Dodgers spring training now in Arizona. It's
Much
always hotter when you play the White Sox because there's nobody in the stands and the yellow seats are like its own sun. But seriously, I 100% agree with AJ. You can play in 110 degrees for one day, especially since then you have the recovery of essentially a day and a half to your next game. And you're flying, so you have to – it is tough getting into a city, especially going from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's tough getting into a city at 7 in the morning. You can go through a game and get into the city at 1 in the morning. That's way better.
Okay, so this is a good idea for getaway day to try
getaway
and mix
days,
in
I'm
some more
always
day
for it.
games.
I never had to play getaway days most of the time unless I really begged.
But not because of the weather. Like,
Yeah, the weather
it
has
was
nothing
brought
to do
up. It was brought up because of the weather. They're like, oh, well, because it's been cooler, we can play more day games. No. You play more day games to get out of the city sooner, in my opinion,
Yep.
not because of the
We
weather.
had a whole conversation, Kratz, about this with the Angels. Remember, the Angels were playing all these night games and having to travel east to play, right? And the players were like, we want day games on getaway days. Well, maybe the West Sacramento Athletics had the same thing. We're like, hey, we have to go east some days, guys. Like, we need to have different times for these getaway days. Because let's say they're going even to Texas. It's a 2-hour time you lose. They have a 7 o'clock game. You're not taking off till midnight, which is 2 a.m. That's a 3 to 4 hour flight. You're getting in at 6, 7 in the morning. Even with an off day, that off day is a waste because you're so tired, right? And then you have to catch up for that whole off day. You don't get to enjoy the off day. Whereas if you get in at like 2 in the morning, okay, you can live with 2 in the morning versus 6 or 7 in the morning.
It'll be year 2. They're used to Sacramento. I don't think they're doing great on the attendance front right now. I mean, the team's not playing well. They certainly have
9,000, isn't it?
the
9,000?
city. What, the attendance?
Yeah, it's the lowest one. It's like 9,000, isn't it?
Right, because it's a small park.
But
and they
doesn't it
did
hold
do
like
pretty well with
13
pre-sale,
or-
but yeah, it's supposed to hold, I think, in that range. Pre-sale
The
did well, but again,
Rays-
this is the whole paid versus who's actually going, right? If you're a
But
local,
the Rays
and
too, though. The Rays, though, have a bigger attendance with a smaller park. They have more people at the Rays games per game. In the Sacramento is bigger than Steinbrenner.
oh
So-
yeah, I think that makes
the
total
attendance.
sense.
Remember, they were like, "Oh, we're going to sell out every single game in Sacramento. The fans are so excited." And for about a week, and the Cubs came there in the first week, and yeah, it's cool. And then all of a sudden, it's gone.
Exactly. Oh, we have the John Fisher clip. Can we run that right now? John Fisher was at the game, the A's owner. If you don't know the backstory, you might feel bad. But, he's sitting first row, and then he's walking through the crowd, and nobody's stupid out there. They all know the situation. To me, that clip is the definition of why I get confused about why it's worth it to own a team. I get that you're super rich and you're making a lot of money off of it, but they're making a lot of money off other things in life. This is the only thing that he can do. There's other things that you can do where you don't have to just be like a public villain. Guy can't show face in public without getting booed at.
It's an ego thing. By the way, that's the same reaction Tom Brady got today at Fox. I'm just kidding. It was a complete opposite reaction of what Tom Brady got. But yeah, it's an ego thing, Scott. Don't you? It's an asset. It's a check. Look, I'm one of 30 in the world that owns a baseball team. That's a big bragging right. Like if I owned a baseball team, I'd wear a shirt that says I own a baseball team and you don't. It'd be pretty awesome because there's 30 people that really own a baseball team. I know there's minority owners and this and that, but there's 30 heads of baseball teams out there in the world, and it's a pretty big flex if you have one.
AJ, let's just put you in his exact spot, though. I'm putting you in his body. Would you enjoy that part of the job when you are in public at any point in time? You're just getting.
But I wouldn't run it like
booze?
that. But I wouldn't
I
run
know
it like
you
that,
wouldn't. I
Scott.
know you wouldn't. But I'm
Well,
saying
that's the difference.
if
I
you
don't know.
choose, of course not. If you choose to run it like a villain, do you really enjoy walking around? Like you're getting
No,
told. There's
he
probably
probably doesn't
5
care,
guys
though.
that deal with this.
He's probably
right?
like
It's him,
this.
It's
He's like
nutting. It's Polad.
Inside, he's
fun.
got the middle finger up going, I'm making $1 billion or whatever. I'm about to make $2 billion. Boo me all you want, people. Who was the player not long ago that's like, I don't care, I'm rich. I don't know, whatever baseball player said, I don't care, I'm rich. I don't care what people boo me or not. I'm still richer than all these people. In John Fisher's mind, he's thinking like, I'm richer than all y'all. I could buy every one of y'all. Like, I don't care, boo me if that's what you think, but I'm trying to do what's best for me and my family and to make more money. Give me more money.
I think that was Jazz, by the way, when people were getting on him about the Derby, right?
Yeah, he said that.
I know it was somebody. I don't remember
I think
who
it was Jazz. Anyway, Kratz, you got something before we head out here? I know. Maybe I'm just being a hopeless romantic. Like, why do you enjoy this? My thing is, if you're him, like, I don't know, shouldn't you be in the suite or something?
No, he's a man of the people.
He's trying to be a man of the people, but kind of like the groundbreaking ceremony they had in Vegas. Just it's fake. It's fake, and it's not. If you are a genuine owner, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to get booed. You're going to get cheered. But at least you know at the end of the day, you gave it everything you had when you owned the team, and it didn't work out. I don't think he can say that, and I'll be honest, I don't think he really cares, but we would have to ask him. He doesn't talk, so we don't know.
Correct. Most walk around like, yeah, if you're John Middleton, you're a freaking rock star in Philly, you know? Steve Cohen, even though the team's not playing well, he's all over the place, and people take pictures with him, and it's cool. And there are many others, right?
There's a lot of them that are
the
good.
5
There's
villains,
a lot that are good.
Yeah, there are a lot that are great, but if you're one of the 5 villains, I'm always watching them in public when they walk around, and these videos go viral, and I'm like, does he know? Does he know? Like, does he read anything?
Hey, I have a buddy that's he has a share in the Green Bay Packers because you can buy shares in the Green Bay Packers, and he's a Packer fan. He walks around like that, and he owns a share of the Packers. So, I mean, Jason, just because you own a share of the 7 bazillion shares doesn't mean you can walk around like John Fisher does.
But he's not a villain. That's the difference.
No, but he thinks
he's not walking around like a villain.
No, but he thinks he owns the team.
Right. That's fine. You want to walk around huffing and puffing and proud that you own a team. That's great. But when you are one of the few villains in the sport, I just think it's a tough look. But hey, that's his life. Anyway, coming up next, here's a guy who can walk around town and get high fives and take pictures with people right now. Mark Attanasio, the owner of the Brewers, best record in baseball. We're going to keep talking about them for a segment until they lose a game, and they haven't in weeks.
A lot of times when a player's called up to the majors, the first question is he ready for the big leagues? Well, with Owen Caissie, who's getting called up by the Cubs, if he's not ready now, I don't know when he'll be ready. He has almost 1,000 AAA plate appearances. He has almost 1,500 AA and AAA plate appearances. He's been in AAA for quite a while. He's been performing. He's ready. So what can you expect from him if he gets regular at-bats? The crazy part of this is that I would know that AAA is not as challenging as the big leagues, obviously. But if you say, what has he done in AAA this year? It's been really be almost a perfect analog for what Bryce Harper is doing in the big leagues. Bryce Harper striking out a little bit less, walking about the same rate as Owen Caissie is in AAA. Again, AAA is easier. But when you talk about how hard they hit the ball, it's basically identical. Average EV, max EV, barrel rate, hard hit rate. All these things are very similar. And I would say that if you're looking for Caissie to mash against right-handers, I think that that's very much what he's ready to do. The one question will be is if you want him to play against lefties, that's a little bit more of a question. He's really more of an opposite field hitter who's just trying to survive against lefties. You don't see the same power against lefties that he has against right-handers. But Owen Caissie has been ready for a while now, and if he gets some runway here, it'll be interesting to see what he can do for the Cubs.
Tweet it out, Michael. JJ Cooper said Owen Caissie is Bryce Harper. Good stuff from JJ. Make sure you check him out on Baseball America Hot Sheet, baseballamerica.com. But this is a 23-year-old who's getting called up. He's Canadian. He's getting called up for the Cubs series against the Blue Jays, finishing that one up with a getaway day game. But hey, AJ, I know the question mark is where is he going to play? The question mark also is how good will he be? But they held on to him, and I think they could have dealt him for a starter at the deadline. So there is some extra pressure on him.
Where's he play, Scott? Where's he play? That's all I want to know. Left field. Who's left field? Ian Happ. Who's center field? PCA. Who's right field? Kyle Tucker.
Where? Suzuki DH.
Yeah, where do you play him? Where's he going to get playing time? It's a cool story. Happy for you, Owen Caissie. We interviewed in spring training at the Clutch House. You were awesome. Alana and I sat down with you for a long time. You were great. But if he doesn't get regular bats, then what's the point? I don't know. Unless someone's hurt that we don't know about, we're missing something here. Kratz, am I wrong?
Oh, I don't think you're wrong. It'll be interesting. They need a little infusion of offense.
Yeah, bats need a boost. The Brewers cannot lose a game. Now they're playing the Pirates at the moment, one of the worst teams in baseball, but still the Brewers cannot lose a game right now. Make it 12 in a row for Milwaukee. Hey, they at least made it a little sweaty mid-game. Brian Reynolds put on a show. He was a one-man wrecking crew. I think it was back-to-back innings where he had a 2-run homer and a 3-run homer, but then eventually Kratz, your old boys, pulled away again.
And they do it all. And everyone's like, no way they can continue this. How can they do that? They don't hit enough home runs. But the name of the game is scoring runs. The great, or as they call him now, they had a T-shirt, King Vaughn, Andrew Vaughn, had a squeeze bunt to put the team up 5-1 instead of 4-1. I think it was first and third, and he squeezed against Andrew Heaney. So he had the advantage, left-right, and he still was able to just, get an RBI, drive the run in. They're winning ball games, and it's 12 in a row. It's euchre magic, as all the signs in the stadium are saying.
And the company that gives away the burgers, AJ, is getting the endorsement.
What company gave away all the
lifetime.
burgers?
George Webb, it's called. I don't know a lot about all that. Maybe
is it like the Canadian place? Because the Canadian, what's the Tim Hortons? George Webb is like Tim Hortons of Milwaukee.
George Webb? No, I don't think that's what it's called. I don't want to defame the burger company. Find it for me, Scott, because I
typed in George Webb and there's articles everywhere. Milwaukee George Webb burger giveaway, what you need to know, when, where, and how to get a free George Webb burger. George Webb sets the time and date for free burger giveaway. Again, I'm not plugged into every local giveaway scene. We just watch the Brewers every night, and now a lot of the post-game chats were about how the Brewers going to get fans free burgers. Yeah, it's a restaurant.
I thought it was called something
when he was playing for Milwaukee. No, it's a restaurant chain in Milwaukee. They announced on August 14th, that's today. They announced where fans can get the burgers. I'm trying to see when they initially came up with this thing. I don't know if I will. But anyway, I guess the promotion that they have is here it is. The
George Webb,
BP.
Local chain in Milwaukee.
Our founder made the bold prediction of 12 games in a row back in the 1940s. It's only been realized 3 times in company history. And so that's the thing that they run, where they'll give out free burgers. They said that in 2018, when it happened, they gave away 90,000 free burgers plus 100,000 redeemable vouchers. Wow. So whatever it is, Kratz, I don't care if it's a million burgers. Oh my God. We just talked about it.
People aren't just going to Buddy Webb. What's it called?
George Webb.
George Webb. And
that's a funny name for a restaurant.
I have a friend named Buddy Webb. That's why I kicked in.
Sounds like an accountant.
But George Webb, yeah. But everyone goes, they're not just going to go and get a burger. They're going to get a shake and some fries and something else, maybe a piece of pie, and then someone else has to get something. So it's like Mattress Mac in Houston, right? He gets all this attention, but he doesn't really lose money when he does all that. He hedges his bets and all that. So, he's smart. It's good marketing. Good for the people in Milwaukee. And you know what? Go get your free burger, people in Milwaukee, because you deserve it.
Yeah, eat.
It was there in 18. I mean, I was there in 18. I just didn't remember it was called George Webb, but I remember Counts was talking about it, and he was like, he's like, yeah, if we win, because if we had beaten the Rockies, the last game of the third game of the NLDS, that would have been our 12th win. Or maybe it was the first game of Dodgers, whatever it was. That's when we got 12 in a row. It was at the end of the season. There was so much chatter about it. It's funny that I forget the name of the place, but there was so much chatter about it. Like the city was obviously on its head because of the fact that, you know, we were moving on to the NLCS, but the fact that they were getting burgers and all the locations, I just didn't remember that was the name of the place.
That's a tough name. I would call it Webby's or something. I mean, no offense, and maybe I'm going to get smashed for that, but it sounds like, I'm going to get my taxes done with George Webb. But anyway, free burgers.
By the way, Kratz, you guys swept the Rockies that year because I flew to Colorado and I had to stop in Houston because we didn't have that game. So I was on the plane and I was texting my producer and I said, do I really have to go? Because it was like 4-0 because they're in slam range in Colorado. Right when they closed the doors and I couldn't get off the plane in Orlando anymore, someone hit a grand slam and it was 8-0. And I was like, no! Luckily I had to stop in Houston.
Keon Broxton hit a homer to right center off of Wade Davis. That kind of started putting it out of range.
Yeah, I was like,
more reminiscing to do. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We got Tom Verducci waiting for us, so let's get to him. Tom, AJ's playoff buddy coming up.
Aw, cute.
Good day for the boys yesterday. The OG3 all hit on our locks.
I told Pap.
Including, wow, AJ, good job.
I told Pap not to do it. Pap did it. Pap, I told him he made fun of me on his thing. You lost, Pap. Don't do that. Be a good teammate.
Good day for the boys. We're cooking a little bit right now. Getting close to level again. Pap's still up. Let's get one pick from one of you right now. Kratz, you go, and then I want to show something, and AJ and I will go later.
Because we got chastised yesterday for not knowing. At plus 170, my parlay is over strikeouts for Brad Lord. Only needs 3.5. So we're going to get 4 strikeouts from Lord facing the Phillies. And Kodai Senga over 4.5. Only 3 times in his career at home has he not gone over 4.5 strikeouts. That's plus 170.
Boom, there you go. AJ and I will give you picks later. Let's show this little tweet that FT put out. I thought it was one of the best captions that we put out all year. Wow. It's Mike Attanasio. Who is that? Is that his son?
Joel Attanasio.
Joel put it out?
No,
I'm confused with all the Attanasios. Whatever, doesn't matter. That's the owner of the Brewers, right? Who took the picture?
Mike is his son. Mike is his son.
That's what I said. I just asked.
I know. I was doing an ESPN thing because they messed up the picture.
Well, anyway, yeah, he took a picture. Brewers extending win streak, blah blah blah, and it's Stephen A. And then our caption was so good. It's just, how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
That was tremendous.
I thought that was just so well played. And then a couple people piled on in the comments like, what does this mean for Chandler Parsons' contract or something like that? You know, obviously Stephen A. is not talking a lot of ball. So I thought it was perfectly played. Yeah. Yeah.
How does this affect
Sanders.
the WNBA
What about
draft?
that incomplete pass in the preseason game?
Yep.
Does this mean Giannis is staying?
We should have Pap on. We should have had Pap on to talk about this.
True. I would have loved to hear what they actually said. Like, what is he saying?
What did Russo went off? The other guy on that show went off because he didn't think that Pete Alonso breaking the Mets franchise home run record was a big deal and they shouldn't have celebrated it. What?
That was bad. That was a bad take.
He doesn't celebrate birthdays either. I'm kidding. But yeah, that was a bad take. Here we go. One of the best baseball writers ever, Tom Verducci. Check out his work in SI. And, of course, as I mentioned before, buddy with AJ on Fox. You'll hear those two throughout the season, but then in the postseason together on the call for an American League game. There you go. He's really got the company logo going today. Tom, great to have you on. How you doing? And are you prepared for the postseason with AJ?
Not prepared for the postseason because I have no idea what's going to happen, like who's going to be in it. By the way, I think I just got back. I did the Mets-Braves game last night. I think it just ended. That was an ugly ball game that took forever besides the rain delay. My goodness, it was like watching, when your kids first start doing player pitch rather than coach pitch in Little League, and it's ball 1, ball 2, ball 3. That's what the Mets and the Braves did last night.
What was it like at the ballpark, Tom? Because we did cover this at the top of the show. The Mets are going through a really, really tough time at the moment, and the pitching staff is crumbling.
Yeah, it's interesting because they had all those good vibes from the night before. You mentioned the Alonso home run record, and they were supposed to have a celebration before the game where they actually had a ceremony for Pete, and that got wiped out by the rain. So that was a downer. But then the Mets jump on Carlos Carrasco, who's now DFA'd because, quite frankly, and I love Cookie, it just does not have major league stuff. And the Mets jumped on him for 6 quick. But how do you lose that game? You're up 6 at home against a team out of contention, and they boat race you with 11 unanswered runs. And again, it's something that's really harmed the Mets all year. They can't command the baseball. They've walked more batters than any pitching staff in the National League. It's been a problem all year. We know all about the lack of length from their starting rotation. That's still an issue. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Yes, they fortified the bullpen, but that starting rotation right now is a real problem for New York.
Tom, that's one of my questions with the Mets. Is it just the starting pitching not giving them length? The bullpen gets worn out, but they haven't hit either. They haven't hit like we thought the Mets would hit. So what the heck is – we can throw the Yankees in there too. Like, what's going on in New York? Did something happen to the water that we don't know about?
Yeah, something in the water. I'll tell you, with the Mets, it is a little bit the offense. I thought they had a top 5 offense when the year started. It hasn't worked that way. You look at Soto, and he's taking more strikes in the zone than ever before in his career. We know he's a patient hitter, but then when he gets runners on base, he's hitting below 200. He's between a lot of times, and that was the case last night. I know he hit a home run. Why Carrasco threw him a 4-seam fastball, I do not know. Because Juan Soto does not hit sinkers. He absolutely destroys 4-seamers. And that's not the kind of guy to challenge Juan with a 4-seamer. But after that, they just spun him to death, and he struck out 3 straight times, bases loaded. So Lindor has gotten extremely streaky this year. That's hard to figure. We know he's a good offensive player, but he's been in one of those funks now. But you look at the bullpen that you mentioned, AJ, it's interesting to me. Yes, you can be like San Diego and bullpen teams to death. But to do that, you have to have them lined up and ordered. Like Helsley is the guy to me that got to be that weapon. Drop him into a game, middle of the order, 6th or 7th inning, get out of that jam. You've got Diaz behind him to close it to face the middle of the order the next time he comes up. They can't do that with Helsley. He's so used to being a 1-inning, clean guy, does not do up and downs, has a routine to get ready for the 9th inning. They're trying to groom him now into that super guy to drop in the middle of the game, and he just can't do it yet. I don't know if he's going to get there in time in the next 6 weeks. So you look at the names, and it looks good in terms of depth of bullpen pieces. Yes, they're picking up a lot of innings. We know that. But there's a lot of things they need to get straightened out. They're pitching a kid, Nolan McLean, on Saturday. You got Montas and Blackburn starters in the bullpen. Senga is not stretched out. Shamanaya is not stretched out. Clay Holmes is only a 5-inning pitcher right now at best. That's why I say this is something that is not just a slump. I like the offense still. I think that's a slump. But the pitching staff has some real-world issues.
They have issues. You talked about Cookie Carrasco not being a big league pitcher. This is a team with playoff aspirations. If I were to say at the beginning of the season, World Series aspirations. The lineup has the potential to be a World Series lineup. Does the pitching staff as a whole even have the chance to be a NLCS pitching staff?
That's a great question. As much as I know that bullpen dominates in the postseason, right? Look at last year. Dodgers win the World Series. Their starters go 4-4. The bullpen goes 7-1. I think the relievers threw more innings than the starters. So there is a path. But you still, at times, as Yamamoto did, you need some guy or 2 guys to go out there at some point and take the ball into the 6th and 7th inning and win the game yourself as a starting pitcher. Right now, the Mets don't have that pitcher. Now, if Senga is fully stretched out and he's healthy, yeah, he can be that guy. But again, he's not there. He's still going to need some time. You guys know that these pitchers have to go through progressions to work up to being that, 80 to 100 pitch guy to pitch 3 times through a lineup. The Mets literally don't have one of those starters right now. And yes, I think as much as I like their bullpen, that's still a problem when you get to postseason baseball.
All right, let's go to another bullpen guy that's doing meh. Devin Williams. Is he officially, with what Bednar's done since he's come over, is he officially your 7th or 8th inning guy, a different spot other than, I know Aaron Boone said, we got to find some soft landing spots. And right now we don't have any soft landing spots. Do you think he is supplanted by Bednar?
I do. I mean, in my, that circle of trust, late game, high leverage guy, have a lead, lock it down. I'm all about Weaver and Bednar before I put Devin in that position. Now, he may get there. I'm with you. Give him a few soft landings, get the confidence going. 2-pitch guy, and the changeup doesn't seem to be coming out of his hand just the same way. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's New York at this point. You more than almost 3/4 of the way through his season. That adjustment period to me should be over. But not the same stuff coming out of the hand. So I can't just give him the ball on reputation here in 8th, 9th inning, 1-run game. I've got to back him up a little bit and eventually hope that he gets there, but he's not there right now.
Tom, there's good races going on, AL West, NL West. They're awesome races, right?
Yeah.
Within a game of each other. Right there, it's great for baseball. Forget the wild card. I want to know who wins the division. And the third wild card is great, but I want your take on both these. The Padres, Dodgers, and in the other side, I mean, the Mariners and the Astros. Who's the better teams here, and who's going to get that bye in the first round for both of these divisions?
Yeah, great races. I mean, I like Seattle over Houston, and I totally respect the Astros. And you never count that team out. They're battle-tested. We know that. But I just like the roster after the trade deadline for Seattle a little bit better. And I think they're going to pitch better because guys like Kirby and Gilbert, to me, I don't want to say they've underachieved, but there's more in the tank there with those guys. So I would lean towards Seattle in the West. In National League West, I still have to say the Dodgers, but I'm telling you guys, there's something that's just not right with this team. This is not just, let's get healthy. They've not played well this year. The thing that jumps out to me, guys, the Dodgers are not a good defensive team. In the last 6 years, they've been either first or second in Major League Baseball in turning batted balls into outs. Now, I like that stat because that's not just about defense. It's about the way your pitchers control weak contact, right? Hit the ball softly, your defense is more likely to make the play. The Dodgers have been first or second every year for 6 straight years. They're 18th this year. They're below average. They have a losing record against winning teams for the first time in more than a decade. There's some systemic problems here. They pitch starters on the 4th day, 4 days of rest, less than anybody in baseball. I get it. That's their MO. Let's stretch everybody out, gig economy, divide up the workload among many guys. But the problem is they haven't pitched third time around as much as anybody else in baseball. Those guys aren't really locked down now to do that. So I don't know that Glasnow and Snell are going to be locked down and Ohtani locked down starters in the postseason. It seems to me, I don't want to say there's not an urgency here because this is the way they're designed to play. I just don't like the way that they're playing, right? The offense isn't as good as we thought. The defense isn't as good as we thought. And the pitching isn't as good as we thought. So I'm still going to say the Dodgers. Sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but top to bottom, I'm betting on the talent. I think they're a deeper team than San Diego, but there's no question San Diego is the hotter team by far right now.
You are one of the only people that agrees with me on this show or any of the other shows on our network. I agree. I think the Dodgers are going to come out on top. But do you feel like them coming out on top will be a need for Mookie to go back to right field? You talk about defense. You have a better shortstop on the team who plays shortstop still in Rojas and he's going to give you what he's giving you. And you said the offense isn't that great, but now all of a sudden you've upgraded 2 positions when you have a guy that plays Gold Glove right field. Do you see them making that move here in September or even here in August to be able to solidify and make them a better defensive team?
That's a great point, Erik. I mean, I think they're probably a better team with Mookie back in right field, but I think they're so committed, and Mookie's been so committed to it that it's hard for them to get off it at this point. So while I think it's something that they should consider, I don't see them doing it at this late stage game of the season. So it's a great point. You can make the case they will be and should be a better defensive team in that alignment. But I don't see them doing that. I mean, Mookie's made himself a pretty good shortstop. I can't say he's an elite major league shortstop. I don't think he's harmed him that much. But if you want incremental upgrades, I like him better in right field than shortstop. I just don't see the Dodgers pulling the trigger on that.
Hey, Tom, you do a great job with Joe Madden on the Book of Joe podcast. I love it. I listen to it all the time. So you can help me out with this one, because I think the stat that you said was that the last 5 years has produced top 4 home run teams in the regular season as World Series champs. So do you think that streak continues as it stands right now? Yankees, Dodgers, Angels, Diamondbacks, and if we want to include the Mariners because they're tied with the D-backs, those are your teams in the top 5 home run wise. Padres 29th, Brewers 14th, Blue Jays 19th.
I'm glad you brought that up, Scott, because I love watching the Milwaukee Brewers play baseball. I mean, how can you not, right? They play the game the right way. They play hard. They put the ball in play. They run the bases great. They're very athletic. They're a younger team with young legs, and they just put pressure on teams constantly. You don't know if they're going to bunt or hit and run or steal a base, but you must be prepared every pitch that something may be up. And I love that kind of pressure, that anticipation of something happening. That being said, yes, there is something to that. In this day and age where you get to the postseason and you're seeing the front of rotations, the back of bullpens with the off days, that's pretty much all you're seeing. It's very hard to string those rallies together with 3-4 hits, right? And that's where those 1 swings, 2 swings, guy on base, pop one can win a game for you. And yes, and I think it's the last 5 years, no lower than 4th in Major League Baseball, not just in the league, in home runs. The Brewers, I think last time I checked, were about 18th or 19th in home runs. The last time a team won the World Series without being in the top half of Major League Baseball in home runs was the 2015 Kansas City Royals. That's a decade ago. You guys know how much the game has changed. This is a very different game played in 25 than it was in 15. So I'd like to believe it's true, but you got to show me that first.
Tom, 5-second timeout. I got a special visitor. I don't know if you guys know who this is. Scott definitely doesn't know who Matt Liner is.
Matt Liner. That's when I watched football. That was the prime time days.
Video bombed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens when you show up at Fox. You just random people walk in.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
tell me good things about Penn State. I just got to know good things about Penn State.
He wants a good thing about Penn State. Anything good about Penn State?
That they return a lot of dudes. We'll see. I think they're going to win it all.
He said they're going to win it all. By the way, UCLA?
No.
Okay, good answer.
AJ,
see you guys. Nice.
Good stuff. Sorry, I feel like that was a valid interruption there. AJ, you got last one here. We got 2 minutes to go.
So we just had one of the best-looking quarterbacks of all time, Tom. I got to meet the all-time best-looking Fox employee today. So you're second, Tom, but this other Tom beat you. So I have to admit, I mean, Tom, you're a great-looking fellow, but that guy beat you for Fox Sports rankings.
I have no problem being number 2 behind that dude. I mean, that's the GOAT in every way. They don't call him the GOAT for nothing.
And he can play baseball.
Seriously.
And he can play baseball. Yes.
He got drafted.
Oh, he
right?
asked me. Yeah, he asked me. He's
Montreal Expos catcher.
Yeah,
and he's a pretty darn good golfer. And there's probably nothing he can't do well.
No. You're the only good Tom on this show, okay? You are Tom.
I'll take that.
He is Brady, okay? Just remember that.
You got to get him on the show. Let's get Brady on and me at the same time. How about that?
Ooh,
I asked
would
him.
love
He
that.
said he would if he could fit it in his schedule, which his schedule's pretty busy. But he said he would. He loves to talk baseball. I mean, we just had Matt Leinart on. I mean, Tom Brady, Matt Leinart.
We're one step away. One step away.
One has a Heisman, the other one doesn't. I mean, right?
Ooh, okay.
Well done.
That's true. That is something AJ would say to both of them if he was standing with them both. Hey, how does it feel to have a Heisman?
Leinert's son walked in and he had a USC shirt. I'm like, UCLA, right? And he's like, what? And he gave me knuckles. His dad's like, no. And he's like, USC.
That's good. Well, Tom, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. We're looking forward to, obviously, you got 6 weeks left, but then seeing you and AJ cover whatever it is, because we have no idea what the postseason is going to look like. This is a very unpredictable year, but great to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is always fun. You guys do a great job. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Tom. Tom Verducci, SI, Fox. Of course, also you can catch Tom on that Book of Joe podcast with Joe Madden. Joe Madden, a frequent guest on this show as well. We got about a minute to spare here, and I know some of you on the TV side are going to go to the Cubs pregame show. Cubs are playing the Blue Jays for their last game in that set with Owen Caissie making his debut. Here, we're back. I think we got like 30 seconds or so, and then the marquee crowd's going to go. Yep, 30 seconds. And I just saw the news. Owen Caissie, who we talked about earlier on the show, the rookie, is going to hit 5th and DH. AJ's like, where is he going to play? And the answer is bat.
DH.
Yes, DH for the Cubs. But it's super cool that he's making his debut as a Canadian in Toronto. That's cool timing.
It is
with
cool.
With 1 day, so he doesn't reach his Rookie of the Year limit.
Oh,
Just
stop.
saying. No manipulation. None.
Wow. Nathaniel Lowe? Wow.
Yeah, by the way, Drake Baldwin is now losing playing time to Marcell Ozuna again. Ozuna was sitting a lot, and now he's on freaking fire, so the Braves are playing him. And on Hammer Territory, I was listening this morning to the Best Braves show, and they were like, Braves fans are freaking out because if Baldwin wins Rookie of the Year, they get the pick. They're like, you got to play this guy every day. Even if he's sitting, he should be a DH, not Marcell. Anyway, it's for another day, another show. But you can read what you just saw. AJ, what happened to Mr.
Nathaniel
Lowe?
Lowe. Wow. DFA'd. That's. I know he's been struggling, but wow, that's shocking. That's shocking that he's that happened, especially now in the year. But I guess they have someone else they'd rather play. But you know what that means? There's going to be a playoff team that picks him up after he clears waivers.
That's right. Eligible until the end of this month to be on a playoff team. So he'll get picked up for sure. 88 OPS plus this year, 292 on base, 373 slugging. So this for him is a very down year. This is the first year he's even close to sub 100 OPS plus. Also,
Hot.
yeah, he's about to get hot. It's not like it's a 50 OPS plus, right? And look at the team that he's been playing for this year. That is a hot mess.
Maybe you look at his splits and you say, wow, we could definitely use this. He's going to turn around. Unless he has an injury, his OPS plus is going to go up. Even if he gives you 100 OPS plus, just league average, which to me, I think he'll probably be more than that if you put him in the right situations. And he's a Gold Glove first baseman. Like, he's not Gold Glove-esque. He actually has a Gold Glove. So there's value there for a team.
Good dude, too. Good fella. He's been on the show before. Yeah, I agree. Someone will pick him up that needs a first baseman. Back earlier in the season, I thought he was a prime candidate for a team like the Red Sox. They might be in a different spot now, but I thought that would be a situation that might appear for Boston when they were desperately looking for first base help.
Look up Abraham Toro, how he's doing because Romy Gonzalez plays against lefties and is having an awesome season. He's earned at bats against righties, but to me, I think Nathaniel Lowe is that upgrade. I don't know where they think Toro can fit in then on their roster.
Yep. Twins reporter for The Athletic, Dan Hayes, is here covering what I think is one of the most shocking headlines of the sports year. The Pohlads had been looking to sell the Minnesota Twins for about a year, and Dan has been all over the case here. He put out another article this morning with Brittany Giroli in The Athletic, why the Pohlads stunned potential buyers and kept control of the Twins. That is a real quote from one of the next generation family members of the Pohlads. Joe Pohlad said, "We are the right people." Dan, here we go. What the heck happened, and how has this shook Minneapolis?
Oh, man. I'm sitting by the Delta complaints counter here at MSP, and I halfway expect a bunch of Twins fans to line up and complain about the poll ads. It's been a rough couple weeks. I mean, the trade deadline was shocking enough, right? But this sale was stagnant basically after Justin Ishbia left. It just felt like there was momentum at times, but the thing it always lacked was big fish. You always need an anchor investor, like the guy with the big bucks. The Twins had a ton of interest from limited partners, and we saw that play out right here, where two groups investing at least 20% into the club were willing to buy it up without having a path to control, without having anything more than a seat on the board. And that's 2 seats on the board. We don't know how big the board is. We don't know how much voice they will actually have. That's a very unique, unusual deal. There was plenty of people like this that were interested. But I think after Justin Ishbia kind of left and abandoned his pursuit of the Twins in January when Jerry Reinsdorf's sons reached out, they really couldn't find someone that wanted to come in. And so this team sat on the market, and there's only so long that you can keep the house on an open market before the value starts to go down and bids get less. The MLB wasn't going to let that happen. I think that, it sat there forever, and they had groups still spinning their wheels trying to put stuff together. And we wrote about that there were still investors meeting yesterday trying to figure out a way to get there. And they were surprised, blindsided to see this sale happen the way it did, the partial sale. But I mean, the option's been there for 6 months. The price hasn't changed. And I think just at some point the poll ads had to kind of pull the plug. And by doing this, they infuse much needed cash without giving up power. This probably positions them for a sale down the road, even though they say they're committed. And I didn't include that in the story today, but Joe Pollad said we're committed. But it probably positions them after the next CBA for selling then, when franchise values might be higher. The fact that they will have half the debt or somewhere in that realm, a significant amount less with debt, it should increase the value of the Twins and position them well later. But I mean, Twins fans have been clamoring for this for probably decades, since the contraction bid in 2002. Or 2001. The years are mixed up in my head here, but they've been clamoring for a sale for a long time. The last 10 months, we've seen just an overwhelming push for them to sell from fans, and I think they're very disappointed today. And I certainly would not want to be in the season ticket holder office talking to those guys.
Dan, it's only if we would have talked about this months and years ago. I mean, it was 2002, by the way, contraction, because I was on that team. They wanted to get rid of it. It was between 2001 and 2002. Us and the Expos, right. They were talking about contracting, getting rid of the franchises for whatever reason they want to come up with, whatever. It was all BS. So here's the thing, Dan, about this. You just mentioned that the Pollads didn't want to sell, and they wanted Joe Pollad to be on the board, and they wanted grandson Pollad to be on the next board, and then the great-grandson of that to be the president 25,000 years from now. I mean, there was all these stipulations, right? So they never really wanted to sell. That's what it comes across to me, unless they got blown out of the water. It wasn't happening. There's a possible work stoppage coming out. But what gets me about all this is we're the right people to run this team. Are you? Because I was there when Carl Pollad, the grandfather, would walk in the clubhouse and not know who the players were. And I'd be standing in my locker, and he would go, "Oh, hi, Torrey Hunter." And I'm like, no, I'm not Torrey Hunter, right? So, things like that, it was like, wait a second, that was 25 years ago, and we're still talking about it, right? So how can they come out and say we were the right team or the right people to right the ship, right? You haven't righted it since 1991, let's be honest, since 1991.
Right. No, look, I mean, just on recent examples alone, they're going to miss the playoffs for the fourth time in 5 years this season, and barring some miracle comeback, that's not going to happen. They are on pace for 1.8 million tickets right now. It's going to be the lowest. I think it's currently on pace for 5,000 more tickets than the all-time target field low. They're going to miss that. People are going to not show up. They'll end up probably sub 1.8 million. They don't have they have not secured a market media deal, significant deal. There's lots of things to point out right now to say this isn't going well. So when I heard that, I mean, yeah, of course, that's why it's in the headline. There's a little bit, I get they're excited. Joe Pohlad, this really gives him run as a shot. And it clearly was probably up in the air the last couple of years. I do think if they had gotten the right deal, they would have got out. I think that, it's a big family. It started with Carl Pohlad, but he had 3 sons. There are now 7 grandchildren, and then all of them have kids. And you're talking, a huge family. Not everybody has the same interests. One of the brothers is in the movie industry. Like, you have diverse interests when you have a big, rich family. I don't think everybody is totally on board. I think a handful definitely are. But there's been just this air of uncertainty. And I think had they gotten that big offer, they would have taken it, just because how do you pass that up? But it's been just awkward. And, like you said, the statement, the phrasing, this is the same group that said they wanted to right size the business last spring training after the $30 million pay cut. They make headlines from time to time that have not been flattering, to say the least, and frankly anger fans. And I can understand it. And, Joe Pohlad is a friendly dude. I enjoy my interactions with him. But this is 2 statements like that where it's like, those aren't the best statements, and they make headlines and they stick around for a while. And I think fans will definitely use that for a while, especially if the team isn't able to turn this around. Now, clearly they infused a lot of talent at the deadline, even though they salary dumped Carlos Correa. You look at their pitching, there's some really intriguing arms, along with still having a lot of starting pitching intact. We saw Joe Ryan last night. Bailey Ober maybe looks like he's getting back on the right track. Pablo Lopez is around the corner. Zebby Matthews looked pretty good Monday at Yankee Stadium. And then you have Taj Bradley, you have Mick Abel, and you have Kendry Rojas. You have some good starting pitching. Like, there's a world where you can see them maybe getting healthy quicker if some young guys develop. But if they don't, how long are people going to hold those kind of phrases over their heads?
Is this, well, I had another question, but just talking about what you're talking about, when they said we're the right people to right this ship, what does righting the ship look like? Or have they already started turning the rudder? Because history shows you they've had good pitching. History shows you they've had infusion of really good position players. Now they have Byron Buxton, who's healthy, and you think Royce Lewis is going to get better because he actually plays worse when he's playing all the time, and he plays better when he's hurt all the time. So, but you have that infusion. It's the same Twins team. What does the righting of the ship actually look like if that is true?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Look, the previous plan, the plug got pulled after the playoffs when they signed Carlos Correa. I want to say the day that Christian Vasquez signed was the day Correa was going to have his press conference with the San Francisco Giants. And I sat in Joe Pollad's office that day with Dustin Morse, communications director, and we talked about what payroll could look like if the business was right. And Joe Pohlad said there was a world, and I used the quote, there's a world in which if the business is healthy and the team is ready, I could see us having a $180, $200 million payroll. I floated the numbers $180, $200 million, and he said I could see that being a reality. That was the plan then. They signed Carlos Correa 3 weeks later. They had the record payroll that year was either $157 million or maybe $160. But then they pulled the plug on that a year later. They cut payroll by $30 million. They stopped adding around that group. So it's kind of incomplete. Like, you're seeing what is left of that now, which is not an athletic team. Luke Keyshaw has been a breath of fresh air because he is athletic. Royce Lewis is starting to show some of the signs of that again because he's looking healthy. Byron Buxton clearly is one of those guys. Now we're going to see them go in this younger, athletic direction. I wouldn't say they're going to go what the Rays are doing or the Milwaukee Brewers are doing, but it wouldn't shock me if they try to go in a new direction. It's confusing. If I was a fan, I'd be frustrated that July 31 was a dark day. I've struggled to find anyone that can tell me at any point where they've seen 10 players traded. And by the way, I apologize for my camera. This is not optimal. But, this has been a really rough stretch. And what getting right looks like, I don't know. I think that's why fans wanted a fresh perspective coming in, a clean break, and clearly we're not getting that, and you have to wonder what the future holds.
Okay, I got to ask because Falvey came out and said he was directed by ownership to trade everybody, but now the ownership's saying we didn't say that. So who wanted to fire sale? You brought it up. They traded, almost half their team away in 4 hours. So who was it on? Was this a Falvey decision? Was this a Pohlad decision? Or was it the fans are going to be mad at me, so we'll just do it anyways decision?
I think Correa was definitely something from an ownership level. The impending free agents, that was a given. We were going to see them get traded anyways. The way they've described it is, and I asked Joe Pohlad specifically about the deadline yesterday. He said, I thought it was good baseball decisions for the long-term, short-term and long-term health of our franchise. So I know they plan on using I don't know how they will use it because he phrased it, if we choose to do so. But he talked about the financial flexibility. I don't know that the payroll is going to go up much from where it is right now. And next year, it wouldn't shock me if we saw them around $100 million. But I mean, honestly, those aren't decisions that are made until October, November anyways. But it's going to depend on season ticket base and what that looks like. And I can't see the season ticket holders sticking around right now. It's going to be interesting to see what that fallout looks like. But I would say it was directed from ownership level, even if they're saying no, look, they were motivated to move Carlos Correa's money. Absolutely. The way to, I think partly you can say it's Derek Falvey as far as knowing what direction they're heading and knowing that they needed a talent infusion. One way to do that is sell off a good bullpen. And so I think that's why we saw Louis Varland get traded, Griffin Jacks get traded was, hey, we can bring in this younger talent that's, high upside and very attractive. Even though Louis Varland himself had very little service time, they really love the guy that got Kenry Rojas. They love Alan Roden. They think Alan Roden, and I've heard a lot of people say, man, his performance has been so consistent across the minors. I think he had 165 walks, 165 strikeouts, and 1,300 minor league plate appearances. They want to see what he can do at the major league level. They were blown away by that offer and decided to make that. So it wouldn't shock me if it was a little both, but I would not. I think ownership's fingerprints are all over the whole scheme in general.
Can you confirm this? Maybe I got trolled on a story I read. Did the Twins up season ticket prices for next year right before the trade deadline, or did I not read that correctly?
You know what? I don't. There's been too much going on. I don't know. I'll look into that and get back to you guys, but the last 3 weeks is it's just a blur.
No, Kratz, I'll tell you what happened. I was told that they're going to up at 5%. So I could be wrong. I could be trolled. I could be been given bad information, Dan. I don't know. It was something that I was told from people not in the organization that I know outside the organization that said there was a rumor and they think it's fact that the ticket prices are going to go up 5% next year. And so and this was right after the trade deadline when they were going to send out the season ticket list.
I mean, I've seen people online today just kind of grandstanding, showing that they're canceling their accounts. I've heard from one person that it's a busy day in there and not the fun kind of busy day. So it's going to be very interesting. And you know what? Rarely, from my perspective, do you cover a team from the business side of things, but clearly that's something that we have to keep an eye on. I mean, this is a team that just went to MLB-run Twins TV this year. There's a lot of uncertainty going forward, and where ticket sales are going to be next year is going to be really interesting. Now, the one thing that's true is winning does cure all, and if you put Luke Keyshaw and Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton and that starting staff together and get a little bit of help here or there, because they do have financial flexibility, if they do piece it together, maybe they are an interesting club, but there's just more pressure on that team to win right now to get the business side going again.
Yeah, otherwise they're taking the franchise. This is a page out of the John Fisher book of how to move, but they're not moving, and they want to move the team. This is such a mess.
It is, and why? That's the one part is why would you want to move from Target Field? Target Field is a spectacular ballpark. I know that April sucks in the weather there. If we ever see what a late October looks like, that's going to be very interesting. But they have a long lease at Target Field that it's the same reason contraction didn't happen. There was a lease at the Metrodome. The judge ruled that you can't get out of your lease. this cannot happen, and that shutdown contraction talks real quick. Twins have like 12, 15 years left on their lease at Target Field. They're not going anywhere. So, it really is. It's just a really interesting 10 months. Last 3 weeks, it's insane.
Yeah, they could not care less. They have tried to move the team, contract the team, now fake sell the team for really over $2.1 billion if you include the debt. And everyone was like, that's crazy. Someone offered like 1.5 and they hung up the phone. Like, this is just an utter disaster. But at least, and I'll end this the way that we started this, at least this is the right person to take them through the storm. Declared by, I don't know, the high heavens. Somebody declared it. No one knows who it is, but someone declared that Joe Polat is going to lead this franchise to glory and to victory. And if he does, obviously he's going to sell it. So we know where they'll be voting, and they'll be trying to lock out the world. That's why this is a baseball problem. They're going to try and lock out the players and the fans from watching baseball next year, because it would raise the franchise value if they can suppress salaries. It's that simple. Someone can come on and tell me otherwise. There is no doubt that's where they'll be voting behind the scenes. Story for another day. We'll get to that in the offseason. Wanted to get to the on-field product here. Dan, we got to jump, but great stuff, man. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with the complaint line over there where it'll be all about the Twins. And the flights are traveling. Everything's good right now. Flights are soaring. Delta's great.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Dan Hayes, give him a follow. And his work in The Athletic right now is just fascinating for any baseball fan. Check it out. What do we have? BetMGM locks. AJ is up.
Oh gosh, why do you go me first when I'm not ready?
Well, we went Kratz already. I did that on purpose. I can go.
No, I got it. Tigers are going to beat the Twins because Scoople's pitching. That's it. That's really the only reason I went there. And over 8.5 runs in the Phillies Nationals game, and that gets me to plus 170. So Kratz and I are basically betting the same thing. So that's it. Plus 170, Scooble. I'm betting on Scooble and runs.
Okay. And for me, I'm betting for the Phillies to pound the Nationals. They just got rid of Lowe. And I know Kratz was talking about Lord, who has pitched well. But then the bullpen for the Nats is brutal, and they're going to have to pitch for at least a few innings. Lord's career high was 6 innings last time around. So that's the longest he's going, obviously. Luzardo on the other end, who's shown some really nice flashes again. Nats struggle against left-handed pitching. Add it all up. I got the Phillies pounding the Nationals tonight, minus 120.
Highest run support.
Win a hundo.
Highest run support in the league. Jesus Luzardo.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's a little bonus.
Like
Should I double
7
my
runs
bet?
a game. It's like 6.8 runs a game or something that they average when Luzardo pitches.
Okay, 240 to win 200. Just for
Oh.
so easily convinced. Yep.
Scott took the clickbait.
I will take it. Trusting my buddy. We'll be back sitting next to each other in the
said
studio
that they score a
tomorrow
lot
or
of
on
runs
Monday.
for him.
Yeah, well, I'll take it. I mean, that's enough to double the bet. There are the bets, the locks of the day. I'm on at least a 3-game heater, so we'll see if that sticks. Get in on the excitement at BetMGM, and any sport no sweat token could be there for you to get your stake back in bonus bets. If you don't win your wager, you get that stake back. Look at the terms, the conditions, the rules, the whole deal. BetMGM app or BetMGM.com. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We got a minute, so we can come back for a sec here. Great stuff from Dan Hayes, by the way. And then we'll do slap hands for a few minutes. Show went super quick today. AJ out in Foxland, feeling himself because he talked to Brady. By the way, when Brady said maybe we can talk to his PR team and get him on the show to talk ball. Is that vibe you got? Okay.
It was a maybe. It wasn't a no. It was a.
What's all this 1 in a million talk?
Well, listen, we have Matt Leinart on. You never know who might walk by here at Fox. You just never know who you might be able to run into.
That was a really quick Leinart appearance, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
It counts.
It counts. One appearance. 5 seconds. One appearance. Let's slap, and we'll play a trivia game. I like this. The Padres starting lineup the last time that they were in sole possession of first place in the NL West this late in the season. If you saw it already, then I don't want you to play. But if you haven't, I'll give you the date, September 25th, 2010, against the Reds. So you guys were both big league in it. Maybe you remember. I mean,
that was one of the first teams I played against. So yeah, I can. You want the starting lineup or you want pitchers?
No, I want starting lineup. I want the batters. I want the position.
Okay, because I was thinking how
Khalil Green.
That team. Who? Khalil Green?
Was he on that team?
I don't think he was on that team. They had like Will Venable. They had Adrian Gonzalez. Chase Headley was playing third. Was Nick Hundley on that team?
Mm-hmm. Yep, catching. Second base, David Eckstein.
It's Eckstein.
Eckstein. Oops. Shortstop, Miguel Tejada.
What?
Oh, I wouldn't have gotten that one.
I would not have gotten that one either. You said Ludwig or no?
Scott, who was? Oh, Ryan Ludwig was playing left field. Who was DHing for him, Scott?
Nobody, Kratz, because it was the National League. I'm old enough to know. I'm old enough to remember when the National League didn't have a DH, and that caused Shohei Ohtani to sign with the Angels and not the Dodgers. True story.
That bullpen was ridiculous. Heath Bell, Trevor Hoffman, Tim Stauffer.
No, wasn't Hoffman in Milwaukee then?
Yes. Because I played both of them. I played both of them my first like 2 or 3 series or something in the big leagues.
2010, he was Milwaukee. Hoffman
Gregerson,
was 2010 Milwaukee.
Gregerson was out there. They had
Stammen. Craig, what was his name? Stammen.
Craig Stammen?
The guy who didn't bend his leg. Remember him? I thought it was Stammen.
Stammen.
Craig Stammen.
There was Stauffer and Stammen. I don't know if they were on the same team.
Yeah.
But there's the lineup for you. The starting 9, Oscar Salazar in left field. But otherwise, you guys did a good job there. Kratz, we got 30 seconds too, so let's get a Kratz test real quick on the way out.
Hard Garfish.
John Garland, your boy.
This is one of my gifts. The other one of my gifts that one of my best friends in all of FT, AJ Pierzynski, got me.
Wow.
All-Star game hat. It's pretty sick.
Those hats I like.
I really like it.
I do too. I like them.
I got to be careful though. There's dots. You can't see it. There's like the small holes in the back. Ooh, not with this head. Not with this head. You got to put some suntan lotion on, but that's okay. It's a nice hat. It's so light. I love it. I hope I get one from every team. Players Weekend hats coming up. Maybe those would be cool.
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't know. Did we? Oh, now we're in term. Okay, cool.
Are they different? Did New Era do Players Weekend?
Oh, they're allowed to
TBD?
use.
TBD.
Did baseball allow them to?
Players Weekend. Is this weekend or next weekend?
Oh, they just have their numbers on the side, I guess.
It started already?
No, they're selling them already. So like New York has a 99 Judge hat, stuff like that, and all different scripts.
Do they have a 38? Do they have a 38 hat?
I don't know. Judge is the first one that pops up, and then Soto, obviously. Acuna, Fried, Matt Olson, Bregman, Yamamoto, Alonso.
So not everybody gets a players. But hey, you get nicknames on the back. You get to customize your cleats. Oh, wait, everybody does that anyway.
Oh, they're going back to nicknames on the back this year?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's the big thing. That's what Players Weekend's all about. Remember, last year they couldn't do it because of the see-through uniforms.
But by the way, speaking of nicknames, happy birthday, Juan Pierre, Beast Mode. He was the one that originally came up with Beast Mode, not Marshawn Lynch. I'm sorry. But
yes.
Happy birthday, JP. Go Gators. Big LSU fan.
Happy birthday, Giovanni Gallegos, too. Not many know who that is, but.
Yeah. Clay Buckle. It's a good name today.
I'll give you the guest list for tomorrow.
Oh.
Ken Rosenthal, Kenny Ballgame back first time in a minute, right? He's back from a little break, and he did fair territory today if you want to catch that later. Noah Syndergaard tomorrow.
Is he still pitching?
He's signed with
He's signed with the White Sox, but I thought they released him, but I don't know that answer.
We'll look it up between now and then. Excited to talk to Thor and Miles Michaelis back on the show. We're like, it's been a minute. Miles is one of the better guests in the sport, coming off a really nice outing. I watched some of it the other day for the Cardinals. That was the win they had against the Rockies. The next couple games did not go as well for them. But anyway, good show today.
Thanks, Scott. Great show by you, too.
Yeah. AJ missed my rant at the top.
You twerp.
Ooh.
Twerp.
Twerp.
I haven't heard that word since 1994.